takes the bronze. What a run!
Everyone thought they knew how the 1,500 meters at the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo would end. The experts had already picked their winner. But when the race was over, the spotlight wasn't on the favorites. It was on one man, Isaac Nader. From the start, no one saw him coming. Ranked 8th in the world and sitting at 5-0-1 odds, Nader was the last person anyone expected to win gold. He had never even made the podium at a major championship before, but what he did in the final 100 meters of that race wasn't just a victory, it was a message. This underrated Portuguese sprinter had just flipped the entire script of the men's 1,500 meters. The build-up to this race was already unusual. With memories of the previous year's Olympic final still fresh, fans had been anticipating a high-stakes rematch between the sport's biggest names. But one by one, those stars fell. Yaret Nugus didn't even qualify for Worlds, finishing 5th at the U.S. Championships. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, still nursing an Achilles injury, couldn't make it out of the first round. Cole Hawker, the reigning Olympic champ, was shockingly disqualified in the semifinals after a controversial clash with Germany's Robert Farken. That left Josh Kerr as the last man standing among the old guard. The reigning world champion and Britain's golden hope, Kerr was expected to hold the fort. But with 600 meters to go in the final, disaster struck. His calf seized up, leaving him limping down the track and finishing in last place. In a race that had already defied logic, Kerr's sudden collapse removed the last familiar face from the podium conversation. At this point, the crown seemed destined for the 20-year-old phenom, Niels Laros. The Dutch prodigy had blitzed the Diamond League all season and lined up as the heavy favorite. As the final lap began, Laros was perfectly positioned on the shoulder of Kenya's Timothy Cheruiyot, a seasoned veteran and former world champion. But even the best-laid plans can unravel in the chaos of a 1,500. With just 200 meters to go, it was Jake Wightman, the 2022 world champion, who made a move that had all the makings of a comeback fairy tale. After 3 grueling years of injuries, Wightman found himself out front again in a major final, just as he had been in Eugene. His arms were pumping, his stride looked strong, and his father, Jeff Wightman, was once again calling the race over the PA system, just as he had during his son's 2022 victory. But what no one saw coming was what was happening behind him. Isaac Nader, running in 5th with just 100 meters left, had been hiding in plain sight. His positioning was quiet but calculated. And in those final moments, he unleashed one of the most blistering finishes ever seen on a championship stage, closing his last 100 meters in a staggering 12.28 seconds. His final 200, a fiery 25.32, and the last lap, an elite 51.2 seconds. Wightman saw it coming too late. As he drove for the line, Nader surged past him, barely dipping across the finish 0.02 seconds ahead. Just like that, Portugal had its first ever world title in the men's 1,500 meters. The time, 3:34.10. It wasn't just a win, it was a reshuffling of the global hierarchy. Wightman, heartbroken yet gracious, accepted silver with a time of 3:34.12. Kenya's Niels Laros, just 21 years old, took bronze in 3:34.25, his first global medal. Laros, the favorite, faded hard and finished a disappointing 5th. Timothy Cheruiyot, once the man to beat, had nothing left in the closing stages. It was one of the closest 1,500-meter finishes in history, closer than most 100-meter finals. The Tokyo crowd could barely believe what they had seen. One of the sport's most unpredictable events had somehow managed to become even more chaotic. For Nader, the moment was beyond anything he had experienced before. "I am emotionally tired but very happy," he said post-race. "I am speechless. Today I am a world champion, and there is only one bigger title, the Olympic gold." Until this race, Nader had been known mostly on the European circuit. He was the 2021 Portuguese indoor champion in both the 1,500 and 3,000 meters. In 2023, he took silver at the European Games, and in early 2025, he had picked up a bronze at the European Indoor Championships, but he had never stood atop the podium at a global level. That all changed in Tokyo, and it wasn't just about one good race. Nader has been quietly building toward this moment all season. In June 2025, he ran a blistering 29.37 inches Ostrava, making him one of the fastest men in the world that year. Just days earlier, he'd clocked 43.86 inches the 800 meters in Guadalajara. His fitness was peaking, but few outside his camp noticed. Born in Faro, Portugal, To a Moroccan father and Portuguese mother, Nader's roots in sport run deep. He's the nephew of Hassan Nader, a Moroccan international footballer. At the club level, he represents SL Benfica, one of Portugal's most storied institutions. But no club or family legacy could have predicted what he pulled off on that humid night in Tokyo. The men's 1,500 meters has long been one of the most wide-open events in track and field. And in recent years, that unpredictability has only intensified. Nader's win makes him the 6th different man to take the world title in the last decade and the 9th different global champion in the same period. There is no dominant force in this event, no guaranteed winner. Every year brings a new contender, a new surprise, and now, a new star. So what does this mean for the future of the event? For starters, the hierarchy is wide open. The 2025 World Championships proved once again that experience, hype, and even season-best times don't guarantee anything. Niels Laros will be back, so will Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Cole Hawker, and Josh Kerr. But now they'll have to contend with Nader, a man who's not only fast but fearless, a closer with ice in his veins. And then there's Jake Wightman. His comeback story was nearly complete, and his silver is a reminder that even in defeat, he remains one of the most dangerous names in the field. If not for Nader's superhuman kick, Wightman might have made history as the first man ever to reclaim the 1,500 meters world title. In a race full of stars, it was the unheralded underdog who had the final word. And that's what makes this event so magnetic. No matter how much data you crunch or footage you study, the 1,500 meters always leaves room for the unexpected. Isaac Nader wasn't supposed to win. He wasn't even supposed to be in the conversation. But in just under 3.5 minutes, he didn't just change the outcome of one race, he changed the narrative of the entire event. Now the world knows his name. And next season, no one will underestimate him again. What makes this victory even more meaningful is how Nader handled the pressure on the biggest stage. He didn't just survive the chaos, he thrived in it. That calm, that patience, and that explosive finish prove he's not just a one-hit wonder. He's a threat to every podium going forward, and he's here to stay.
Finland and Duala is up. Also running well, Pagliarini. Oh, but Duala, she's in a class of her own.
At just 15 years old, Kelly Duala isn't just beating her peers, she's obliterating records set by grown women. European champions are watching their titles fall to a teenager who hasn't even finished high school. So who is this sprinting phenomenon, and how is she running times that Italy has never seen before? She was born in Pavia, Italy, in November 2009, just months after Usain Bolt set the world on fire with his 9.58-second 100 meters world record. Raised in Sant'Angelo Lodigiano by Cameroonian parents, Kellyanne Mavani Douala Edemo was drawn to athletics only after dabbling in swimming, tennis, and football. But once she stepped onto the track, her path became clear. With a relentless drive and natural talent, she quickly climbed the national ranks. Today, she's not just Italy's most promising young athlete, she's a record-breaking sprinter reshaping the future of European track and field. Kelly didn't grow up planning to dominate sprinting. In fact, she first tried swimming, then moved on to tennis, then football. But none of those clicked quite like athletics. She finally found her stride at age 10, and from the moment she stepped onto a track, something clicked. Her speed was undeniable, even at such a young age. By 2021, before even turning 12, she had already run 7.94 seconds in the outdoor 60 meters. To put that into perspective, that's just days before Marcel Jacobs famously broke Italy's 10-second barrier in the 100 meters. Kelly was already on her own path, and it wasn't long before she turned that promise into jaw-dropping performances. Kelly's rise was swift. After moving to Milan and joining CUS Pro Patria Milan under coach Walter Monti, her training intensified, and so did her results. She began smashing national youth records across the board: 60 meters, 80 meters, 100 meters, 150 meters, and even the 4x100m relay. By February 2024, at just 14, Kelly ran 7.27 seconds in the indoor 60 meters, beating Vincenza Colli's 2-year-old U20 record. A month later, she clocked 7.23 inches Ancona. Then came the real shocker: 7.19 seconds at the Italian Indoor Championships, the fastest European U18 time ever recorded. That run placed her 4th all-time among Italian women. And that was just the beginning. A muscle injury cut Kelly's indoor season short in early 2025. Most athletes would have slowed down, not Kelly. came back with a vengeance outdoors, blazing through the 100 meters in 11.37 and 11.36 seconds in June 2025, both new Italian U18 and U20 records. Just weeks later, on July 15 inches Brescia, she ran 11.29. But the real fireworks came at the 2025 European Youth Olympic Festival in Skopje. There, Kelly exploded out of the blocks and stunned the continent with an 11.21-second finish in the 100 meters final. Not only did she win gold, she broke the European U18 record. That time made her the third fastest Italian woman ever, trailing only legends Zeynep Dosso and Manuela Leverato. If you thought a 15-year-old couldn't take on the best under 2-0 athletes in Europe, think again. Just 18 days after her historic run in Skopje, Kelly lined up at the European U20 Championships in Tampere, Finland. Facing girls up to 5 years older, Kelly didn't blink. She cruised through the semifinals and then destroyed the final with a blistering 11.22-second run. In one race, she became the youngest ever European U20 100 meters champion. And just to flex her dominance, she anchored Italy's 4x100M relay team to another gold medal. Kelly now holds every major national youth record worth mentioning. She owns the European U18 bests in both the 60 meters, 7.19 seconds, and 100 meters, 11.21 seconds, and simultaneously holds the Italian U18 and U20 records in these events. Beyond that, her long jump mark of 6.42 meters ranks among the best ever by an Italian teenager. Her gold medal haul is just as impressive, with top finishes at the 2025 Italian Junior Championships, 60 meters and 100 meters, the European Youth Olympic Festival, 100 meters and mixed relay, and the European U20 Championships, 100 meters and 4x100M relay. These records are more than just numbers. They signal a new era in Italian athletics. For decades, names like Manuela Leverato and Zeynep Dosso defined Italian sprinting excellence. Now, Douala's name is rapidly being etched alongside them, not just as a successor, but as a potential surpasser. Coaches, fans, and analysts alike are watching closely, knowing full well that we may be witnessing the rise of one of Europe's all-time greats. Kelly's middle name, Anne, is no accident. Her mother named her after Jamaican sprint icon Shelley Ann Fraser-Pryce, a woman who dominated global sprinting for more than a decade. From a young age, Kelly idolized her. And now, she's not just following in her footsteps, she's racing to catch up. In post-race interviews, Kelly's humility shines through. After her win in Tampere, she said, "I was very emotional in the finish because it was a very important competition for me. This is a huge success for me and for my career. What sets Kelly apart isn't just her raw speed, it's her ability to deliver when it matters most." Whether it's chilly conditions in Finland or the high-stakes pressure of a European final, she's composed, focused, and explosive. In Tampere, she lined up in lane 6 and left older, more experienced runners in the dust. Silver went to Great Britain's Mabel Akande in 11.41. Bronze went to Ukraine's Uliana Stepaniuk in 11.53. But the spotlight belonged to Kelly, who screamed with joy as she crossed the finish line. In September 2025, European Athletics nominated Kelly Douala for the Rising Star Award, an honor reserved for the continent's most promising young talents. With her trophy cabinet already heavy and her best years still ahead, it's hard to imagine anyone more deserving. To truly grasp Kelly's impact, consider her resume. She's the European U18 record holder in both the indoor 60 meters and outdoor 100 meters, clocking 7.19 and 11.21 respectively. Her long jump personal best stands at an impressive 6.42 meters. She has swept gold medals across nearly every major youth competition she's entered, including national championships and continental tournaments, establishing herself as Italy's most electrifying young talent. Despite the hype around her name, Italy's athletic federation is wisely giving Kelly and her coach full control. President Stefano May made it clear, "I don't choose the schedule. If they decide they are ready to compete at the top level, I have no objections, and I don't have any demands either. It's the right approach. Let the talent blossom without forcing the spotlight. And with Kelly, the spotlight comes naturally, because what she's doing is impossible to ignore." The trajectory is clear. Kelly is on track to become one of the greats. Her times are already closing in on Italy's national senior records, and her performances under pressure show a maturity well beyond her years. Will she go to the Olympics? Almost certainly. Will she become a world champion? The odds look good. But right now, she's doing something even more rare, making the world stop and watch a teenager outrun history itself. In a world where sports headlines often focus on seasoned pros or viral controversies, Kelly Douala is a breath of fresh air, a reminder that raw talent, determination, and the right support system can create something truly extraordinary. And if this is what she's doing at 15, the sprinting world better brace for what's coming next.
Generations in your family, in your children, in their children, in their children. May His favor be upon you.
Noah Lyles may be the fastest man on the planet, but this time it's not his speed making headlines, it's his fiancée, Junelle Bromfield. After years of silence, the Jamaican Olympian has finally spoken out, breaking her silence on their relationship, her struggles, and the powerful moment that changed everything. On the 28th of September 2025, Noah Lyles and Junelle Bromfield took a step that had nothing to do with medals or world titles. At a live church in Orlando, Florida, the power couple stood side by side, professing their Christian faith in a joint baptism. The video, shared on Lyles' Instagram, showed them being immersed together as he captioned it with the Bible verse Joshua 24:15, "But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." This moment resonated far beyond athletics. Fans, fellow athletes, and media outlets around the world praised the couple for publicly declaring their faith. It wasn't about records, it was about values, family, and the foundation they want to build together. Junelle, who has often been more reserved compared to her outspoken fiancé, seemed to embrace the spotlight in this moment. For her, it wasn't just about baptism, it was about showing strength, resilience, and clarity in the face of criticism she has endured. While Lyles is the global face of sprinting, Bromfield has her own remarkable story. Born in Jamaica, she grew up in a culture where sprinting is a national obsession. By the time she was 8, she was already competing at the highest youth levels, showing the kind of resilience and hunger that would carry her to 2 Olympic Games. Her specialty lies in the 400 meters and the 4x400m relay, events in which she has represented Jamaica with distinction. At the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, she helped secure a bronze medal in the women's relay. She also earned medals at the World Championships, World Indoor Championships, and the 2022 Commonwealth Games. A 2-time Olympian and relay medalist, Bromfield's career speaks for itself. Yet, despite these achievements, she has faced intense scrutiny back home in Jamaica. Lyles himself spoke about this in 2024, praising her resilience. "She has been through so much in her life that I could never imagine fighting through," he wrote. But the most impressive thing I've seen recently is how she's dealt with the pure disrespect and hatred towards her from her own country. She keeps moving forward, knowing that God will always make a way. Junelle has quietly endured these challenges, but her silence was never weakness. It was her way of staying focused. Her baptism with Lyles was a powerful message. Her faith is her shield, and her future is hers to define. Lyles and Bromfield's love story has unfolded in front of the public eye. The two began dating in 2021, and by August 2023, Lyles proposed. In October 2024, they confirmed their engagement, setting the stage for what many are calling one of track and field's most high-profile weddings. Planned for spring 2026, the wedding is expected to be more than just a celebration of their union, it's being positioned as a cultural statement. Bromfield has already spoken about her vision for a melanin-inspired wedding, designed to inspire Jamaican children to embrace their heritage and identity with pride.
Nicest things you ever done for me was take care of me when I was sick. I couldn't even get off the bed and everybody was fighting around me and you were telling them, bringing order to everybody.
So one of the nicest things you've done for me is listen to all that I said I was lacked when I was growing up and tried to give it to me.
For Lyles, his devotion to Junelle has been visible in small but symbolic gestures. Before the Tokyo 2025 World Championships, he dyed his hair blonde, telling the media, "I want to be the man she fell in love with." In a sport where image and performance intertwine, and that statement highlighted just how important she is in his life.